Hi, I am Kedro on Two Wheels, and this will be the review of the Sena SMH5-FM. So the Sena SMH5-FM, and I am supposing SMH means Sena motorcycle headset. 5 meaning that it is the entry level headset, and FM means it has a FM module, so you can hear radio. So this is the entry level headset for Sena. And for comparison's sake, I have an El Cheapo eBay unbranded communicator, which cost me, I think, was like $40 with shipping. For 35 euros-ish, okay? This one costs in retail around 100 and something, 115, 105, 115, 130, let's call it 115. So it costs at least 3 times as much. Which is the reason why I got the El Cheapo one. But now that I've got this, I am regretting having bought the El Cheapo one. Okay, granted, for the price of one of these Senas, I bought the 3 El Cheapo ones. I need to talk to my son and to Kajarina when they're riding with me. Okay, that's true. But this is way better. So what does this have that the El Cheapo one doesn't? That's so nice. First things, when you turn them on, like so, you hear a little ta-ta-ta-ta, and then a voice says, hello.
Hello.
And after a few seconds,
Phone connected.
Which the El Cheapo does not do. It just gives you a series of beeps and bops. Also, this one always connects. The other one, every now and then, simply refused to connect and just went beep beep beep. Whatever beep 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 meant. So I was always a bit in the dark. This one has a ton of features and a much more usable interface. So basically it has a yellow button at the rear, which you can press, and a side button, which you can press or rotate. So far it's relatively similar to the El Cheapo. The El Cheapo has one recessed button at the front, which you can't see, but you know it's there, so you can press it, and then one other button at the back, and that other button, if you grasp it sideways, tilts up and down for volume up and volume down. This one actually rotates easily for volume up and down, so you can just rotate it like one of those old rotary phones. It actually looks quite a lot like that, to increase and decrease volume. It is much easier to use because the buttons are much bigger and easier to find. And it is also, well, let's start with the beginning. It is, as soon as you get it off the box, you see it is much better, much better constructed. The materials are much better. The whole fitting is perfect. Everything, you just look at it and it says, yeah, this thing says quality. El Cheapo one, it's just an off-brand Chinese product, but it looks good. Okay, it's not a bad one. It looks average, but this one looks great. Looks special. The whole gear and kit that comes with it, it is very complete, and it also exudes quality. Even though the wires for the microphone are exquisitely thin, those things are really thin, it still feels nice. It still feels like it's not going to fall apart. Okay. So that's one thing you're going to get. It is quality. You see you have bought a quality item. The extra features help. FM radio. You have a proper connection to your Bluetooth. You can activate S-Voice with the headset.
FM on 98.5. FM off. Intercom failed. Try again later.
You have one missed call, one new message.
Dial 911.
Goodbye.
When you start, and I would recommend you put it on your head before, so you can do all the settings, etc. And just try listening to some music. The sound quality is actually pretty damn good. Okay, it gets to the point when I'm annoyed because it doesn't have enough bass. Whether in the El Cheapo, I was happy I was able to actually listen to some music. Now I'm listening to some music and thinking, this could do with a little more bass. So it just the sound quality is very good, and it just changes your expectations of what sound quality should be. Okay, you just start thinking, yeah, this is really good, but now I want more, which I guess is what the more expensive ones offer. But this one, that works. It's much better than the El Cheapo one. It's not quite the same as a dedicated pair of headphones, okay, but that's to be expected, or in-ear phones, but it's very good. You even have a little pads which you can put on your ear pocket so that the speaker is closer to your ear if you want to. And another feature I enjoy immensely is that the volume is high enough to actually physically hurt you. And why do I enjoy that? Because, well, if they make a physical block for the sound, sometimes it's not loud enough. You can have a hearing problem, and it will be too low. You might be riding really fast and you really need to take that call, and so it will be too low. You might be, there's a billion uses for having this volume go up to, all the way up to, oh my god, this is too loud. Okay, one of them, for example, is if you're wearing earplugs. Having extra volume helps, because then you can blast through the earplugs and you can still listen to your music. But I don't advise putting it on maximum, and sometimes it can make your ears bleed if you turn it on and the volume is near maximum and you weren't expecting it. That can be painful, but it won't happen all the time. I haven't tried it yet, but Kajarina says the audio quality on calls, it's miles better, much better than before. I can hear her better also. Usually I could only talk to her under 100 kph, and I would have to do something like this, or I would somewhat understand from a phrase. I'd get a few words and kinda understand what was being said. Now I can hear her clearly. Up to 200, up to 120 I can still hear her. Over that, then it starts getting iffy, and music stopped for some reason. So sound quality is very good indeed. Pretty much what I would expect from $100. Okay, in-call sound quality, can't test it, but she says it's much better. In fact, I was riding at, say, 50 kph, and at 50 kph on the GoPro you can hear my engine going, huh? So she answered, and the first thing she says, "What, you're still at the office?" And I was, "No, I'm riding." "No, you're not." "Yes, I'm riding. Listen to the engine." "No, you're not riding." So after that bit of discussion, I was convinced it's doing a good job of cancelling engine and wind noise, because eventually I was going at 80 and she was still not believing I was on the bike. And we are used to high definition calls, or HD calls, because we both have Galaxy S telephones, which have that next generation high quality audio thingy. So it's usually very high quality audio, and she thought I was on my phone. So that's a huge plus. And if she hears me that clearly, and I'd really like to try this out, if she can hear me that clearly, well, that's great. So that's another point in favor instead of the El Cheapo ones. And yeah, it's it's really hard to find something I don't like about these. I know Riding Rubber complained about wind noise, but I one-upped him and I did what I did with my El Cheapo, because wind noise on the side of the helmet makes me go nuts. Having an asymmetrical noise on the helmet just really grinds my gears. So what I did, instead of putting it right on my side, I put it a bit further back, so from the front you can't see the communicator, it's on the back. I have to bend my hand a little bit, making it a bit less ergonomical, but at least I got zero wind noise from it, which is good, because on the exact same position Mr. El Cheapo still did a little bit of wind noise, enough to annoy me, but not enough that I couldn't ignore it. Would annoy me every now and then when I would consciously remember, oh, here's the wind noise coming from the left. But this one, even trying to hear it, nothing so far. So it is a more aerodynamic. It is also bigger, bulkier, but it's rounder, so that's why it's got a more silent profile, aerodynamically speaking. It's also got a little cute little spoiler at the front, which I guess also helps aerodynamics. And let me turn on the light so I don't get killed. So yeah, so far everything's brilliant. About the radio, I've tried the radio and it works. It works like so. You take your hand off here and you press the rear button for 2 seconds, like so. Where is the rear button? Here. And she says FM on 98.9, and it's on. It's that simple. It receives, well, I'm going to have to say, a bit poorly. Okay, here I can hear everything perfectly. I got into town and I got in a slight valley and I lost reception. So it works like a weak car antenna. It doesn't really have an antenna, so it's kind of weak, but it's supposed to. But if you choose a local broadcaster, you shouldn't have any problem. Shut up, woman. It's really, I have to turn this on. It's really hard to speak in one language while listening to radio on another. Can't do it, sorry. But yeah, it works, but the reception is good enough, but sometimes it cuts off a bit because there's no antenna. And unless you'd like to have an antenna sticking out of the top of your helmet, that's never going to work. But it works. For riding, for normal riding, it works perfectly. Maybe when you're in town it might skip a bit here and there, but that's why you have your cell phone on, to hear traffic advice and your favorite radio show. Works perfectly well. Okay, it also has a few nice features. Actually has a lot of features, which is the only issue I have with it, which is not quite an issue, is that it's got quite a learning curve. Because, for example, I wanted to redial my last number dials. I was going, how the hell do I do that? Double tap this communicator button? No. Double tap the rear one? No. What? How? When? And in fact, I don't quite recall how to do it. I think it is press the jog dial inwards for... No. Inwards, a tap on the inwards jog dial is... Oh, I remember what it is. It's a double tap on the radio button, and it goes into speed dial, and you have a voice saying speed dial, and then you rotate the jog to choose the speed dial position. But the first time you rotate, it says redial, and the second time you rotate, it says speed dial 1, speed dial 2, speed dial 3, and so on. This is a really nice feature to have, but thing is, with only 2 buttons and these many features, you're going to have to tape a manual to your bike. I'm just going to go through a few of them which I recall. Single tap on the jog dial, which is the big button. It's basically just reach around behind it, just go pack. That's start the communicator to another bike or another Sena. Press it for this long, like a second or so, and it goes beep beep, and it starts playing music. On the rear button, single click starts S-Voice. You tap it for a couple of seconds and it starts FM, and it says FM on. double tap and it goes into speed dial. And there's more. When you're listening to music, you tap in, hello. You tap inwards and you rotate the jog dial to go to the next music, or rotate it the other way for the previous music. Obviously, rotating the jog dial one way or the other is volume up and volume down. So there's a lot of commands to be learned, okay? My favorite is still S-Voice, because I can simply tap on S-Voice and tell it what to do. Something like, play all music, and that's done. Or call someone. And hence, a screenshot I actually posted on my personal Facebook, which I was testing it out, and said, dial 911. No issues, dial 911. I said to S-Voice, what? I'm hurt, I need help. And she gave me something like, man up and deal with it. And I said, I'm bleeding. And she goes, maybe you should get a doctor. So, yeah. But anyways, this is awesome. It's got a... If you're not very technically minded, it might be a bit overwhelming. But you do have a nice little manual which explains things. In fact, it explains them so well that it's like a leaflet, and you look at it and say, what? That's it? That's all this thing does? You don't even notice how many functions it actually has. That's a lot of stuff to learn. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with this. And I'd say this is worth it over the 30 bucks El Cheapo ones. Unless, like me, you have to buy multiple of them, or you're on a budget, then the El Cheapo ones might work. But if you have an extra buck or two, well, this is worth it. It is that much better. It is 3 times better, okay? Just being able to do the S-Voice thing is fantastic. The radio is a very nice addition, even though I don't use it that much. But it is a very nice addition. And yeah, I just generally love it. It's great. It's actually quite a nice piece of kit to have. One thing I have to try, if it can pair with 2 phones, and especially if it can stay paired with 2 phones at once, because I have 2 phones, one for work, one for personal, and so I'd like to be able to do that for both. Oh, call taking. You can set your phone to automatically answer, obviously, which I do not have that set, but it just gives you a subdued little ring on your ear, go like doo 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 doo, and you just click it once, and you're talking, and it works pretty well too. Everything just kind of works, you know. I'd like to eventually get another one for my son, so we can talk, or for Kajerina, so we can do a vlog with proper bike-to-bike talking things. Then I'll probably get a better one for me for more sound quality, because I hear, so I can listen to music all the time. And he'll get the 5S FM. He won't mind, or she. But yeah, it's going to be one of these for each member of the family, which is going to be really cool, because unlike the El Cheapo ones, no, actually this one has that issue, which is, say I'm riding with Kajerina and my son on the back of my bike, on the back of her bike. El Cheapo one has this issue. This one I think also has, which is I can pair with all 3 of them, but I can't talk to all 3 of them at once. Meaning I pair with all 3 are paired together, but then I tap once to talk to the first pairing, which would be Kajerina. Then I tap twice to talk to the second pairing, which would be Mini Kajer. And we couldn't do a conf call. The Sena SMH5-10, I think, already allows for conference calls, which is bleeding fantastic, going with 3 all at once, okay? And the 20, I think it's even more. I think it's up to 4 guys. So that's that's something. That's really something very, very nice to have. I wonder how that would work between a Sena SMH5-10 and a 5 and 2 5s. Would I be able? I would conf call, but they wouldn't. Meaning I would talk to all of them. They would talk only to me and not between themselves. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. This has just way too much features to actually cover, okay? So yeah, recommend this? Yep. Have I tried others? Only my old cheapo. Haven't tried the competition. Oddly enough, Sena doesn't really have much of a representation in Portugal. I don't know why. Probably they don't have a distributor here or something. Because here it's all about G somethings. I don't know. I don't recall the brands. There's like 2 big brands, and that's all there is here, generally. So Senas are actually pretty hard to get, and you only get them by importing. Not really sure why, but I'd guess it's because it's a new kid on the block. And so yeah, that's it, my review of the Sena SMH5. I don't know if the SMH10 has better sound quality. I do know that 20 has a much better sound quality, but it's also a lot more money. At least from I Am Ramakan's video about this. But it is good enough, okay? You can hear music perfectly, and in fact you get sound quality is good enough that you start noticing these little details instead of, yeah, it's my music. No, it's, yeah, it's my music, but hang on, it's could use a little bit more bass. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I do love it. Oh well, enough ranting around. 20 minutes of video is way too much, and that's it. Cage out.